Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our first series of moving your business to online. My name is Jason Mock. I'm the president of the San Marcos Area Chamber of Commerce, and I want to thank SBDC for helping us put this event together. Again, this is the first of four-part series, and I'm going to turn it over to our host, Shane, who's going to be giving us a great presentation today, as well as the next couple of days on this series. So, Shane, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Jason. Yeah, I want to thank the SBDC for putting this on and the chamber. You guys, this is awesome. I know it's kind of crazy times out there with COVID, and a lot of people are looking to obviously try to figure out how to put your business from, if it's online brick and mortar, how to put it online. So this is going to be about a 1-hour presentation today, and we're going to save all the questions till the end, but please go ahead. There's going to be a questions box where you can write questions as I go through the presentation, and I'll save about 10-15 minutes at the end for any questions you guys may have. So as Jason touched on, this is going to be a 4-part series. Today is Tuesday. We're going to have one on Thursday, another one next Tuesday, and another one next Thursday. And they're all going to be foundational, so they're going to play on top of each other. So make sure you sign up for the other webinars as well, once again. And you will be receiving copies of the recordings as well. We're going to send those out to everybody so you can, because there's a lot of information during these presentations. So we want to make sure you're able to soak it in. And once again, we'll do questions at the end. So the idea is hey, how do we move our business, our brick and mortar business online, right? And there's a number of things. I want to tell you first, before we jump into the presentation, is a little bit about myself, so you understand who I am. I'm actually a digital strategist and brand and influencer consultant. I've been in the space, well, not in the digital space, because digital hasn't been around for 25 years, but in the marketing space for 25 years. I specialize in influencer marketing, content marketing, SEO, online PR, and I've worked with a number of Fortune 500 companies, influencers with digital products, and a lot of A-list celebrities. They used to do a lot of PR stuff down in Hollywood. I'm up in Sacramento, California now. That's pretty much my daytime job, is doing consulting. My nighttime job is I'm an instructor at UCLA. I've created a personal branding and how to be an influencer course, their curriculum. And once again, that's something we did that in the LA area. Some other things, I've been featured New York Post, Forbes, Mexico, The Atlantic, USA Today. Just kind of let you know, I've been in the space for a long time, done a lot of public speaking as well. Places that I write for 120 different websites, Inc., Forbes, Huffington Post. Once again, lots of history there. Another thing I want to tell you about is it's always important when we have these webinars. I like to tell people exactly what I do personally. What I mean by that is what my own personal site does, because it's always, when you have these webinars and I see individuals that speak, I always want to say, okay, that's awesome that you have that knowledge, but I want you to show me what you've done. I want you to actually have the proof. If you're a financial planner and you're broke, then you're probably not a good financial planner. So the reason I'm showing you today is that I have about 2,500 keywords that I rank on the first page of Google. So I know how to get your website online. I also know how to get it to #1 rankings for certain keywords. Obviously, some keywords are harder than others. I myself actually go after some of the hardest keywords because I have other marketers in the industry that want to knock me off of the keywords that I want to be #1 for. I get about 180,000 visitors a month to my website, and I have about 66,000 social media followers. And that's, once again, a little foundation about me. So, what we're going to talk about, what we're actually going to learn today is to understand the state of online business, how to actually audit your business to see what exactly you would need to put online, the stages of online lifecycle, the initial steps to create your e-commerce store, and then we're going to talk about the steps of designing your store. So one of the things we talk about, the essential pages to create, right? You don't have to, when you're doing a website, it doesn't need to be 500 pages. You can get a website up. I recommend just to get it up. There's a lot of things you can do to optimize and stuff. We'll talk about that in future sessions. But right now, you just really want to get a website up to let people know you have a presence there and make sure you have an active social media following. The content you need to add to it, right? So we'll talk about that. Specialized approaches for service-based businesses or a product-based. So in other words, e-commerce being, hey, we actually sell products online, or service-based being like you're an attorney or something like that, where you just sell your services or time. How to list your products, and then I'll give you some pro tips as well. So, when we talk about the process of understanding the state of an online business, it's essential to know how your business functions to ensure smooth implementation. Another thing you want to do is you want to conduct a business audit to understand the current state of your business. We'll talk about that. And then auditing can help identify how and what to migrate online. So you also want to figure out which of your products or services have the maximum demand. So if you are, somebody that has 15 different services, you don't necessarily have to put all 15 online. You can put your 3 big money makers or your 3 most popular services. Once again, it becomes very daunting to be able to have to take your offline business online. It takes a lot of work, but you don't have to make it this big, huge, crazy process. You can take off little chunks at a time. It doesn't need to be anything, crazy. It needs to happen right away. You just want to get some kind of presence online. And then high demand products or services can be the focus of your online business. Once again, if you sell 10,000 products and your store rate, you don't have to put 10,000 products on your website. You can put your 30 favorite products or 30 high selling products, right? Because the idea is just to make it simplified, get something up so people can see that you're on there and maybe potentially purchase or see your services. Analyze all your products and services that will be a fit for the online marketplace. Once again, some stuff doesn't fit in regards to maybe you have something that's, you're selling something that's really big and you can't ship it, right? Because it's just too expensive to ship. It's a motor or something. Well, obviously to ship something like that is going to be very, very expensive. So now we have to look at, hey, does it make sense to actually bring that type of product online and decide if you want to take your entire business online or just focus on a few products, kind of as I've touched on right now. So we've got the legal aspects. So starting an e-commerce business requires you to understand some legalities. Once again, I'm not an attorney, so you will have to talk to an attorney. I'm just giving you some general ideas. You do want to start some kind of a DBA, right? And then if it's a different than your actual business name, and then any part of your legal name of your LLC will require a DBA. So once again, talk to an attorney about that if you want to create a DBA. Once again, not an attorney, can't advise you on that. Just there's some things you have to do if you have a name that's different than your actual business name. And then reselling merchandise requires a reseller certificate. Every state and county is usually different. So once again, you want to talk to an attorney about that, or there's probably some stuff online that some resources you can find online, and then save you from paying taxes on products you aren't going to be reselling, and then apply for the sales tax permit with your state if required. Once again, it just depends. It's state by state and sometimes county specific. So next, I'm going to talk about the online life cycle. And what this kind of goes into is we're going to kind of talk about, in general, just all businesses. And some of these businesses won't exactly fit into this, but I'm giving you a general idea of most businesses. This is the cycle that they have. Look at the different steps involving an online life cycle and see if it's going to, if you put a plan together to better your business. And the steps involved for the life cycle, online life cycle is going to be this. Create an e-commerce website, right? Or a website that's going to be informationally based. Promote the e-commerce business to your customers. Obviously, that can be done through social media. It can be done through emails. It can be done through paid ads. Have a payment solution to select online payments, right? So that's a situation where you can use Stripe. You can use, PayPal. There's tons of different options out there. Order management systems to manage orders. Logistics system to fulfill orders, and then customer support solutions to help customers stay happy. So once again, this is for an e-commerce based situation. So once again, we will be sending these slides out so you will get this, but once again, it goes e-commerce website, promoting it to your customers. What's your plan for doing that? Payment solution in place so they can purchase it. A management system, so it's an inventory system, so when they buy something, you know that you have 99 of that product left. Logistics system to fulfill orders, once again, on the back end, and then the shipping of it, and then the customer support to make sure you have happy customers. So the big thing you have to do in regards to, we talked about it a little bit, is initial steps to getting your business online. You have to figure out, is it an e-commerce base, you sell products, or is it a service base? And then you have to buy your domain. And so a lot of the times if you have, XYZ liquor company, then you probably want to go buy xyzliquorcompany.com, right? Or Texas or whatever it is, XYZ, Austin, Texas, or whatever this is, you want to buy the domain name. That once again, it talks about it specifically what your business does or the name of your business. And then you have to buy an SSL certificate, which can be done through whoever you bought the domain through. And then you can also buy privacy certificates too, if that's something that you want. You have a business that you don't want people to know who the owner is. Once again, most of the stuff, we'll talk about that of where you can get this done actually right now. So here we go. So we've got deciding on platforms. So product based, which is like e-commerce based, there's a number of different sites you can use. You can use BigCommerce, WooCommerce, Shopify, Drupal, Magneto, etc. There's some other ones as well. And then for service-based websites, you can either do a WordPress-based website. It can be a Wix, which is they actually do the hosting for you, or Squarespace. I'm going to talk about each one of these are really different. So it just depends. There's plenty of websites you can go to and say, hey, I'm selling products. This is what I'm thinking about doing, and this is what I need. And then they'll tell you which of solutions would be best for you. Or once again, you can also reach out to myself or anybody at the SBDC. They can help you with some decisions on how to get this going. Next, you're going to want to talk about creating content, what kind of content you want to create. You're going to upload all the necessary information per the platform's requirements. Like for e-commerce, obviously products, the descriptions, you want to put it under categories. And then service-based, you're going to add, case studies. So what you want to do is anything that you've done offline, you want to be able to bring it online and talk about case studies that you've done, clients that have had success. If you're an attorney, hey, I got $1 million for this client, I got $1 billion for this client, whatever that is. And then also you want to add your portfolio of the companies you've worked with. You want to show some thought leadership. You want to show that you've been in the, you want to show people online that offline you've been doing this for however many years, once again, to build that credibility, and then add a really clear, what we call a CTA or a call to action on your website. And we're going to go review some of that here in the presentation as well. So figuring out if you want to do a product-based or service-based website depends on the nature of your business. Obviously, the place where you can actually buy the domain names and obviously the SSL certificate and the privacy is either going to be GoDaddy, is where you can buy the domain names, and then Bluehost and HostGator are where you can actually get the hosting account. So you have your domain name, you have a hosting account, and what will happen is your hosting account makes it so your website goes live. So having a domain is just securing your domain name. The hosting is which hosts it on the actual internet. And so that's kind of some things you want to take a kind of think about. So when picking a domain name, I touched on this a little bit, but I want to go into a little bit more detail here. Domain name should ideally be the same as your brand name. So my company is Shane Barker, so I have shanebarker.com, right? And so if you can't find that, you want to find a variation of that. Relevant to your niche, obviously. Keep it short so it's easy to remember. Once again, you don't want to have a domain name that's 30 characters long. The idea is to keep it shorter. It's harder to find shorter domain names because there's so many people that that own those domain names. But once again, try to keep it as short as possible and include keywords relevant to your industry. So for shanebarker.com, that doesn't necessarily say that I do, marketing or consulting. What I probably could have had is shanebarkerconsulting.com, so people would know, hey, Shane Barker is a consultant. Right, so that's something I didn't think about when I was buying the domain name. But once again, you put that in there. Or once again, ABC Liquor Store. Great, we know that it's ABC Liquor Store, or Austin Liquor Store. Great, it's an Austin Liquor Store, something like that. And choose a suitable top name domain. So what's this is? It's called a TLD, like .com or .io. Those are the ones you always want. .com are the most popular. There's tons of them out there. There's anything that you can think of, but .com is the one that you want to go after if you can. And can opt for generic, you can't opt in for generic ones that are like .shop, .store, and .shopping, but we would probably try to stick with the .com if possible, unless once again .shopping made sense for your domain. And you can use domain names generator tools like Name Mesh and Domain Wheel are two places where you can actually go and you can take a look at different domain names that are available. So deciding on a hosting account, which again, excuse me, we have the domain name, now we have the hosting account. You have to decide on what type of hosting you intend to use. Lower traffic, choose shared hosting accounts. So you'll see there's going to be the cheaper accounts where you can do web hosting that it's going to be shared. It means you have low traffic, not a problem. You don't have to buy your own server. If you expect higher traffic, choose, excuse me guys, I'll take a sip of water. All right. If you think you're going to have a higher traffic, then you can choose a cloud hosting. But probably in the beginning, you just can do a shared web hosting account. Cloud hosting lets you scale up your resources quickly. Once again, that's if it's going to scale fast and you have tons of traffic. And WordPress users can also opt in for WordPress hosting offered by the hosting providers. I use WordPress. WordPress is, once again, is what I recommend because it also has great SEO for search engine optimization. It indexes extremely well, but that's something we can talk about outside of this presentation. And if you use WordPress, I recommend Bluehost because Bluehost is what we use, and it's once again we have great results with them. And then you just choose the basic plan to start if you're starting from scratch. Once again, you don't need the crazy plan. You need to pay $30 a month. You can pay $4 or $5 a month with Bluehost. So other things to buy along with your domain name and hosting. Buy an SSL certificate to secure your site. That's if people are going to be buying stuff online. What that says is that it's safe for people to put their credit card information in the accounts so that they're once again secure. And SSL is a must for e-commerce websites. Once again, it says that people can put in their credit card information and there's no problems. And then buy site lock protection to safeguard yourself from malware and vulnerabilities. Once again, you want to make sure you have a secure site. And buy a privacy certificate, once again, if you don't want people to know who owns the website. So what we're going to look at here, this is actually a website. This is based on platform. This is product-based. So this is if you're selling e-commerce. Shopify is one of the examples that we talked about. So you choose a platform, what depends on the type of business you own. Product-based businesses offer platforms geared towards selling products, obviously, and should be easy to list products, manage inventory, and fulfill orders. That can be, once again, Bigcommerce, that can be Shopify, anything like that. WooCommerce also does it. These are all reliable sources that are big companies that have been around for a long time. And Bigcommerce and Shopify provide self-hosted websites, while WooCommerce works with WordPress. So it just depends on what kind of a platform you want to work with there. So this is going to be deciding if you want to do a service-based, once again, more informational-based. You should be able to showcase the major features of your service, and I'll show you some examples of that as well. Can be relevant, static website compared to a product-based. So it's a lot easier to do a service-based website because you don't have shipping, you don't have to buy anything, you don't have to add any kind of sales thing to be able to purchase online. And the platforms, once again, WordPress is what I recommend. If you want, it's easier to use Wix and Squarespace because they make it very simple to put websites up. But they offer, and then Wix and Squarespace offer their own web hosting, so it's kind of all inclusive. So you wouldn't have to get Bluehost or anything like that. And then WordPress requires you get your own web hosting provider. So that would be like a Bluehost, as we talked about. So designing your e-commerce website. So, you know, what we need to do is you need to select a theme. So when you go into any one of these platforms, Bigcommerce or Shopify, they have themes that you can actually look through. Some of them are free, some of them are paid. What you could do is there's certain functionality that you can actually get if you get the paid option. So there's going to be more functionality, but it costs obviously some money. And then customize the themes to fit your requirements. And you can decide on your color palette based on your branding. And you can add your logo to the site as well. Excuse me, guys. All right. So when we talk about plugins for WordPress, so these are plugins that you can put in that will that you're going to need for a WordPress-based website with, once again, if it has hosting through Bluehost. Plugins can extend the functionality of your e-commerce website, and these are important plugins. Once again, we'll send this presentation out, but Yoast SEO helps on the SEO side of things, so you know whether your articles or your blog posts that you're putting up are SEO optimized. Anti-spam that's going to be so people don't spam your website. Updraft is going to be so when you put draft on the back end. Jetpack has a number of different tools you can do there. Super caches so that things are cached on your website. Simple sitemap is you want to have a sitemap so when Google indexes your website, it knows where to go. And then Google Analytics dashboard lets you know how much traffic there is. Once again, when you get this presentation, you can actually click on each one of these and it'll give you a better definition of exactly what they are and why you would need them for your website. So optimize your website. So this is right here is going to be more of like adding content to your website. So you see here, some of the things that we talk about is having a really stellar homepage. So having a really great homepage, because that's the first page that people come to. It's going to be your strongest page, obviously because most people find it through Google. And you want to make sure that it's very clear on what you do. So this is Roto-Rooter, obviously, as an example. You can see here that, hey, since they have different franchises, you can put in your zip code or your city. It has a phone number. Hey, you want to call now? It says schedule online. It gives you all the options to get in contact with them or find a location. And then once again, talks about plumbing services. This is what we do. It's very clear on what their offering is. And then what you want to do is make sure you do an about page so the company, so people know about what your company does and who you are. And then add contact details. Once again, this is Roto-Rooter is obviously a huge company, but you know the idea of this is the more information, the better. You'll see even in the subject line or in the top bar, they have a coupon. So if you're looking for a coupon, they give that to you. If you want to do plumbing yourself, for the guy or the girl, the lady that wants to go out and do plumbing themselves, great, they have that as well. And then it talks about their other services, locations, and where you can find them. So once again, great web page. And once again, you want to have as much information in there as possible for them to be able to reach out to you and get in contact with you, know about your services, and know the next steps to take. So when we talk about the product-based website, so you obviously have to list all of your products, create categories. We'll show you that here in a second to segregate the products, and then add a product names, descriptions, pricing information, and related media. And then obviously use high quality pictures to make sure your products look attractive. So if you're an apparel company, if you are, anything, or food, you really want to make sure you have phenomenal pictures. If you don't have phenomenal pictures, once again, if you look at a website and the pictures don't look good, how often are you going to purchase something? So make sure you have great quality pictures there as well. So here's an example. This is Vitamin World. This is just talks about different categories. So you'll see on the left-hand side, they have amino acids, and these are the different types of amino acids or supplements you can buy. And then you can click on it, right? So it's real easy to search, really easy to be able to find. Here, this is recommended ones. And then you'll see here, it just has everything. It's easy. You can see it's all there. And we're going to talk about the add to cart and some other stuff here on these next slides as well. And like the reason why you need that in your actual e-commerce website. So once again, service space, you need to list all of your services. Once again, if you have 1,000 services you provide, we don't need to put all of them. You can just put the main ones that are your main generators or the most popular. Create service pages and add descriptions, pricing, and related media, and then add your portfolio to win customers' trust. That's the whole idea. Somebody should look at your website and say, wow, this is the person I want to work with, right? Because they've been doing this for 25 years. They've been in the industry. They, whatever. You want any kind of accolades you have, any organizations that you belong to, you want to make sure you have that on your website to show credibility and display case studies to strengthen your brand image. This is actually Mr. Clean Car Wash. What they do is, obviously they're just a car wash company, but the idea of it is that you see here, it's very clear that right when you get to the thing, it says wash packages or detailed services. So there's 2 products they offer. And then you go down and it says exactly, hey, this is what we're dedicated to. We're dedicated to make sure your vehicle gets clean, blah, blah, blah. And then it goes down to the platinum, gold, or silver packages. Or if you want a detailed service, obviously it's going to be a higher price. Once again, very easy to use. You go and take a look at it. It says exactly what they do. And it's very simplistic in their offering. And you can, once again, go through there and see what they've got. So adding a prominent CTA. So we talked about this. This is a call to action. So what this does, this encourages visitors to take action. So you really want to tell them what to do. And I'll show you some examples of that here in a second. So design the CTA buttons well, and then place them at spots where customers can discover them and easily click on them. So this is an example. This is the Puritans. So this is Pride. It's a supplements website. But you see here, it says add to cart. So what we're telling the people, that's a call to action. We're saying add to cart. Like when you read that and that's a product you want, and you read that, you go add to cart. Okay, I need to add to cart, right? So you want to make sure that if you didn't have add to cart, then people will be like, well, what do I do next? Do I click on it? I'm kind of confused. Add to cart tells them exactly what you want them to do. Here goes another one. This one actually is, this is Mr. Car Wash. And what they do is a call to action, find a location, right? Or find a location for pricing. So it tells you exactly what to do. If you just had your offering and then it didn't say anything else, you're like, yeah, but I'm in Austin, Texas. Like, I don't know, what do I do next? Well, the next thing you need to do is click on here and find a location for pricing. So it's important to tell the audience what to do, because they come there, they read it and they go, okay, what are the next steps? Make sure you give them a clear call to action. So create a landing page. So landing pages are going to be where you have an actual website, which your website really is a landing page, but we want to make sure like your homepage is a landing page, because once again, it should be, it should be a situation where you have all the information that's in there, and it should be enough for somebody to read that homepage, know what you do, how to get in contact with you, your pricing, and how long you've been in the industry, and any accolades you have. So landing pages are great for lead generation, once again, like your homepage, and should have a form where visitors can give you information and become leads, right? So when we develop landing pages, that can be for a specific offering. So if you're selling blue widgets, so overall on your website you sell widgets, but on this page you sell blue widgets, and you want to talk about why blue widgets are the best widgets, then you have a landing page talking about how awesome blue widgets are, and then it has a form there to fill out more information for them to get a free consultation, get a free sample widget, whatever you're selling there. But keep the form short so the visitors don't bounce away. And then any suitable headlines and placement and prominent space above the fold. So for creating a landing page, you want to create compelling content. So you're writing content with the end consumer in mind. So you want to write the content and think, okay, if I was a consumer, is this compelling enough for somebody to click and purchase or contact me? And you'll know once you start driving traffic to that, you'll have a better idea of whether people are converting or not. Once again, have a call to action on there, real prominent so people see it. And then, there's landing page builders. Once again, this is outside of your website. Unbounce and Aweber have landing page builders. Once again, you have your main website, and you can build a landing page on your website, or you can have another landing page on another domain name where you're driving traffic to. It just depends on depends on what type of business you have. So this is an example this is actually Blue Apron, which obviously they sell the prepared meals. You'll see here, it says Blue Apron, everything you need to cook incredible meals delivered right to your door. There we go. I know exactly what they do. And it's telling me my call to action is join now and get $60 off. I'm like, okay, great, $60 off. And they also tell me a little scarcity. This offer expires soon, don't miss out. So you want to make sure you take advantage of it. And then even below there, it says, how does it work? So maybe I'm not ready to buy yet. I just need a little more information. Great, I click on how it works, or I scroll down the page and I can see the other stuff that we've got there. So adding a blog. So this is going to be really important. So once you've got the website up, the whole point of adding a blog to your website, and it's talking about things that you've got going on. It can either be like, for my website, I talk about, how to do e-commerce marketing, or how to do SEO, how to do local SEO, how to build backlinks, how to get more traffic to your website. So those are the things that I add as value added, that I want people to read my article, and that way they can go do it themselves. If they feel like, hey, I don't have the time and the resources, guess what? That means that now you can have somebody else, you can actually hire us, right? Because you're on my website reading my information. So you have to think about, there's creative ways to write blog posts about any industry, but you want to make sure that you write them so that it's compelling. And the idea of it is that every blog post that you put up is a piece of real estate on Google. So the more blog posts you write, the more real estate you have on Google. Each one of those pages can index on Google. So I always recommend writing great blog content. You just have to figure out why you're writing the blog content. What is the purpose of it? It's usually going to be questions that maybe your end consumer have, and they're searching for online, and your answer will be on the blog, right? So that's kind of the goal there. So share the latest updates with customers, and you can be used to promote an e-commerce website through, once again, content marketing. So setting up a payment method. So this is going to be for e-commerce based websites, right? Not service based. Some payment methods is based obviously off the platform. Try offering as many payment options as you can. So, you can offer PayPal, you can offer Stripe, you can offer credit card options. You want to give people as many options as you can, because not everybody has credit cards. Some people just use PayPal. Some people don't have PayPal and they use credit cards. So you want to make sure you have those options. And it also helps to add a pay on delivery option as well, right? So maybe you have a situation where somebody, when they deliver it, actually they'll get paid then, if you have something like that. Also, in these days, curbside service is a big thing, right? You want to be able to offer that as well. And then accept payments from major credit cards, as I talked about, and then pay and Stripe or payments that can be helpful as well. And then choose a platform also affects the payment methods you can use. So, if you're using Shopify, they have relationships with certain credit cards, and they might not allow you to use PayPal, which I know that they do. But my point is not all of them allow everything. So that's another thing you want to take a look at. If you have deep ties with PayPal and you're going to choose some kind of an e-commerce site, like let's say Shopify as an example, and they don't offer PayPal, then that's an issue, which once again, Shopify does offer PayPal, but you just want to make sure you're taking a look at that before you decide on a website. So Shopify, Wix, BigCommerce offer numerous options. And then you have to obviously select your payment operator if you go with WooCommerce. So WooCommerce is going to say, what is the main one that you want to use? And we have to tell them it's going to be whatever that is, whatever your payment platform is going to be. So figuring out shopping settings. So once again, this is all e-commerce based if you're selling something online. So based on your requirements, you got to figure out the shipping options you can add. Once again, so that can be United Postal Service, that can be, UPS, that can be, whatever. There's all kinds of different ones out there. And it helps to have the facility to be able to print your labels. So a lot of these, you want to make sure you're able to print the label out as soon as somebody purchases something, you get the purchase order, you'll be able to print it out so you can put that actually on the box and you can actually ship out product. Figure out if you want to do free shipping or paid shipping. What you can do is you can beef up your prices a little bit if you want to do free shipping. If your competitors are all doing free shipping, then that's something you should probably consider. And then offer if you want to do offer premium shipping services. So that would be something where people can get it next day, right? Which obviously they have to pay a premium for that, but you can include that on your site as well. Amazon being that example, obviously Amazon is the big gorilla, right? And they offer Amazon Prime, through which you can do free shipping. Not everybody's going to be able to offer free shipping, especially same day or next day. But I just kind of give you an example. This is obviously convenience that people really do enjoy, and you just have to figure out when it comes to your cost of goods and how much you're selling things for, if it makes sense to do free shipping or not. All right, so great. So in theory, through this presentation, I don't know, in theory, your e-commerce store should be online, right? You have enough information for that to happen through this. The key takeaways, some of the things that I want to make sure that we get through as we talk about this, is creating your store by purchasing a domain and hosting. So once again, domain name and hosting, once again, we have those, and those things are usually going to go together. Selecting your platform, like what do you want to use? We got BigCommerce, Shopify, WooCommerce, there's all kinds of options out there, or WordPress. List your products and services and optimize your website for them. So once again, in the beginning, just get up your products, get up your stuff that you got going on, and then you can optimize and change content and do stuff. But in the beginning, let's just get something up so you have a presence there. Add relevant pages to your website. So once again, that can be their service pages. That's about us. That's our contact us. That can be your blog. There's once again, it doesn't need to be 1,000 pages to start. Let's just start with something small, get something up there, and then you can optimize down the road. And then the importance of landing pages and CDAs, the call to actions, making sure that when you build that page, at the bottom of it, you're telling them, hey, call us now, order now, inquire with us, like whatever that is, to tell them what the next steps are with being able to do that. All right, you guys. So there we go. So we're at the end. We've got a little bit of time here to be able to answer some questions. I do apologize. We have fires here in California, so the air is not that good. So it's a reason I can't breathe. I can breathe. I mean, I'm okay. I'll survive. But I just wanted to see if anybody has any questions. I'm going to go ahead and downsize the presentation and see if anybody has any questions.
If it's easier, please feel free to unmute yourself. We'll take one at a time.
For sure. And if so, yeah, unmute yourself and ask any questions. I will also let you guys know, I'll give you guys some information here as you guys get your questions ready. If you guys, this is my personal email address for any of the SBDC stuff. And so advisor@shanebarker.com if you guys need any help, some clarifications on consulting on anything that I just talked about, because there was a lot of information that I shared. Another thing is too, is you guys obviously can reach out to the SBDC for any kind of advice. Here goes the email that you can use. It's sbdc@txstate.edu. And then here goes the website as well. And once again, thanks to the SBDC and the Commerce and everybody for putting this together. I think this is awesome. And don't forget to sign up for Thursday and then next Tuesday and Thursday as well. And now I'll take any questions that you guys have.
Teresa, if you can unmute yourself, you're more than welcome to ask a question.
Hi, thank you, Shane. Could you speak a little bit more about the complexity of the SEO features on WordPress?
Yeah, so when we talk about SEO, and so there's certain platforms that you can use that index better. Now, I've always used WordPress because it just indexes better with Google. They just have a better relationship when it comes to indexing. So what I usually do with any kind of SEO stuff in WordPress is you can do Yoast SEO, which is one of the plugins that I talked about. And what will happen is you put that in the back end of your website. And when you go to put up content, Yoast will run through a few things and says, hey, do you have your keyword in there? And it says, no, it doesn't, right? Okay, you need to add your keyword, and these are the keywords we would recommend. And does your title include the keyword? No, it doesn't, so you need to do that. So it actually is an easy way to be able to run through and make sure that you're able to make sure that your pages are optimized for SEO. Because otherwise you don't have anything that will tell you, hey, this is good for SEO. So that's why I recommend, if you're not going to use WordPress and Yoast SEO, you can put something up, but you eventually want to have somebody look at your actual pages and see what you're optimizing for keyword-wise for that to be #1 on Google for searches. When somebody looks up Austin Liquor Store is my example, right? So if Austin Liquor Store, somebody's looking that up, what is it going to take for my liquor store in Austin to be #1? What do we need to do to move everybody else out of the way to be #1? And so that's when optimizing from an SEO perspective. SEO is search engine optimization for Google and for the searches that happen online.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Shane, Tracy's asking, should you create a website first before a landing page in case potential customers want to know more?
So that's a great question. So, I mean, what you can do, landing pages are a little easier because it's just one page. So landing pages usually can go up a little faster than actual website, because website are multiple pages. So it just depends on your timeline. What I usually do with landing pages is that's if I want to drive specific traffic. Let's say I have paid traffic. Let's say it's from like Facebook or Google. And I have a very specific thing that somebody looks up, let's say blue widgets. So they look up in Google blue widgets and they see that, or the paid ad talks about blue widgets. They click on it and it goes to a page that talks about exactly blue widgets, right? So I would recommend, hey, if you don't have time, then great. You'd put up a landing page to have some kind of a presence on there. Or you can just put up, a landing page I think is probably recommended. And then you can build out your website behind the scenes. And then once you get your website up, you can take down the landing page. So there's two options for it. A, to a placeholder, because your website's currently being built, or B, yes, a landing page if you're going to be driving traffic from a page source or from SEO to be able to go to a page that talks about a very specific thing on what they clicked about on in the ads.
Okay, then we have another one.
Yeah.
Is it good to use an outside company to write blogs? What companies are good?
Yeah, great question. So You absolutely can. So you absolutely can use outsource. You can outsource companies and writers. I mean, my team actually does writing for my own website and for clients. So we are definitely an option, but there's tons of options out there. So we're not the only option in town. What you can do is you can actually go in, and what I usually do is I'll talk to the companies, and usually blog articles want to be at least 1,000 words. But the key to this thing is not just writing content. The key to this thing is actually writing content with high intent. So what is the intent? Is it that, once again, let's say give me an example. I work with a very high-end, since Ferrero's ice cream company out of California. And what we're doing is creating content that had to do with recipes, right? Because somebody wants a great recipe for the weekend. And obviously it includes Ferrero's ice cream, right? So that's a blog post that we put up, and we took pictures of all what we're doing and how we're putting the ice cream in, how we're putting the alcohol in, and how we're putting this all together, right? And so you have to think about, why are you producing that content? So is it just for people to share it? Great. They share the recipe. It's a boozy alcohol recipe that everybody's going to love. But really, at the end of the day, you're selling your product in there, right? Because Ferrero's is one of the ice creams that's in there. So think about the content. It's not just writing a blog post. It's saying, hey, I know that, there was this new law that just got passed and it's going to affect small businesses. So me as an attorney, I want to write a blog post about how this is going to affect businesses. And I want to answer some questions. So the businesses that go search, hey, how does, AB5 in Texas, the new law that just passed, how does that affect us? As an attorney, I write content that will have the answers to how it'll affect you. And then you go, okay, I think I've got it, but you know what? I really should hire an attorney because I want to make sure I'm good. Well, guess what? You're going to hire the attorney you just got the information from. So once again, what is the intent of that content? Is it to convert people to buy something? Is it just to be educational? Like on my site, as I talked about, I write about SEO, I write about influencer marketing, content marketing. It's made to be informational. I want you to be able to go there, and my blog posts are, 1,500 to 5,000, 6,000 words, because some of them are very much in detail. So you read that and I want you to go, wow, this is awesome. I can go do it. Shane gave me enough information. Or you read that and go, ooh, I don't know. That's outside of my will. Well, I don't have time for this. So who should I hire? Oh, I should hire Shane because he just obviously knows how to do this and his team knows how to do it. So that's kind of my recommendation. I'm a content producer from blog posts. So I always feel like you can't produce enough content. Right? So there's no like, hey, I think you should do, one a month. I would do one a week if you can, once again, but make sure you know what the intent of that content is. Don't put content up just to put it up. You have to figure out what is the reason. It's because I want to talk about this new product or service. So these are the questions that people have, something that just happened. I can answer the blog post, which will naturally tie into the service or product that I'm offering.
Perfect. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
The next one is how to go about reselling products from a major brand that I'm trying to sell on my website.
Yeah. So if you have, assuming that there's not a price issue, right? So in other words, if let's say Blue Widgets, if you're selling Blue Widgets from a big company and you charge them, $10 and on their site it's $8, and there's a potential problem there because anybody can go and look that up. I'm not saying not to sell other people's products on your websites, but the issue is if somebody can go Google search that and find that for cheaper, that's where we run into a little bit of an issue with the Amazon thing where, a lot of people just can know that they can find things cheaper on Amazon because Amazon can undercut people because they're the big gorilla. So I'm not saying, once again, not to have other people's products on there, but just be very careful that your prices aren't more expensive than anybody else's. And another thing is too, it's also going to be a little more difficult to out-index somebody. Like if that's my company and you're selling, let's say it's a grill, right? And you're selling the grills that I sell, but I also sell the grills. I'm probably going to index higher than you just because they're actually my grills, and Google's going to say, oh, hey, this is Shane. He owns Weber.com, and he's going to index higher than you selling the products as well. So just make sure there's not a price discrepancy there. And just once again, not a bad way to go, but you just be a little careful of that.
Thank you. I guess as we wait for some more questions to roll in, if anybody has any more, the next workshop is going to be on August 27th, same time, 11 o'clock. Shane's going to be discussing identify your audience and create brand awareness. And then also what I would like to bring to your attention is if you have a moment, I will also send this out in the email. Please take our survey, provide us feedback on this workshop. And is it okay, Shane, if I share the PowerPoint with the attendees?
Absolutely. Please do. Yeah. And if anybody has any questions, once again, you can email me at advisors@shanebarker.com. And I do apologize about earlier. Once again, the fires it's pretty bad here in California. So I'm like, the breathing, it's such a small issue when it comes to webinars, I guess, these days, but I do apologize about that earlier. Any other questions in regards to e-commerce, bringing your website online? There's, once again, there's tons of resources out there. You can go to my website, shanebarker.com. There's a little search bar if you want to learn about SEO, you want to learn about, web hosting, you want to learn about, there's a lot of resources out there. So I would go and educate yourself a little bit online. Once again, I'm not the only resource. There's tons of other great resources out there. You can use Google. You can go search anything like, hey, I want to sell this online. How should I do it? There's somebody that's written a blog post about it that can help you. Or once again, you can also talk to the SBDC. We have phenomenal resources at hand where a lot of people don't realize that once again, they're there. Make sure you pay into that as a taxpayer. So make sure you're leveraging that and using that.
Yes, thank you. Jason, before we head out, do you have anything else to say?
I'm good. I just appreciate everybody joining us today and look forward to Thursday's presentation.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you, everybody. Shane, any last words?
No, I want to thank you guys for the opportunity. And once again, you guys, if you have any questions, please let us know.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. We will see you on Thursday.